Thank you very much, Eric. Pleasure to be here and be able to talk to you people. It's our first year at this conference, and I'm quite happy to be here. I'm quite impressed with the questions that we've had from potential investors. I will say that I will be talking about the future, and I will be using forward statements. Investment highlights. Why do you want to invest in uranium, and why do you want to invest in Crosshair? We're focused on growing shareholder value. We've got 2 properties in Wyoming, both with compliant resources. We've got a major property with 2 deposits in eastern Labrador. We're looking at other advanced acquisitions moving forward in the uranium space. You know, and the other thing is we've got a Amex listing as well as a senior TSX listing. We do a lot of trading in the United States. Our average volume is a couple $100,000 a day. Very liquid stock. We'll get into the staff and our team of professionals that have worked with us for a number of years. And we've got cash in the bank. We're going to spend close to $6 million this year. We're backed by Forbes West, which is a company that was formed a number of years ago and recently became associated with Forbes Manhattan out of Toronto. It gives us access to technical teams, legal teams, merchant banking, capital raises, that sort of thing, headed up by Mark Morabito, who I've personally worked with for up to 10 years now. And he's well known in the industry, having raised some $250 million over the past number of years. He's also associated with Alder Iron Ore, Excelsior Mining, and a number of other resource companies. The Crosshair team, myself as CEO and president, I'm going to be stepping back from the company at the end of the month, and Mark Ludwig, currently our operating officer, is going to take over from me. Mark's based in Denver. And as the company moves forward from exploration and acquisition and more into permitting and development of our projects, as you'll see, Mark, with his background in engineering and mining, will add a lot of input moving forward. We have a Denver office. We have staff in the U.S. now, so we're poised to become active even more so in the U.S. now. You know, the future of uranium, fortunately, Peter covered most of this in his talk with Fisher Watt. I'll just point out that there is a growing supply-demand gap. And you'll hear about Germany, Japan. Japan has 1 reactor left right now, and it's going to be shutting down this month for stress tests. But with the cost of the LNG and the demand for power in Japan, they're going to be moving their reactors back on stream. And in addition, you've got new reactors being built in the Far East. So there's definitely there's going to be that supply-demand gap. And the secondary supply, as Peter mentioned, is decreasing. Future of vanadium, well, Bill covered more than I could cover in my allotted time talking about the future of vanadium. As Marshall said yesterday, it's one of the strategic, critical elements moving forward. And I agree with Bill. I mean, the future is these storage batteries are going to store electricity from wind and solar power. And the reason I'm talking about vanadium is our deposit in Labrador has 142 million pounds of vanadium associated with the uranium. Stock chart, as you can see, like everybody else, this is Fukushima. We did a capital raise in here last year. We did very well up until Fukushima. We've drifted down. We seem to be consolidating now around 40, 50 cents. So project-wise, as I said, we've got 2 projects in the U.S., Boot Hill and Juniper Ridge. They've both got good potential for expansion, and they both have existing resources. We've got about 5 million pounds on both deposits each, but they've both got potential to more than double that going forward with additional drilling, which will be underway this summer. Up in Labrador, again, we have 2 deposits, uranium and vanadium, 20 million pounds of uranium and 140 million pounds of vanadium. Again, we're going back this summer with additional work planned. We're in Wyoming. Again, Peter talked about Wyoming, mining-friendly state. Cameco's producing in the state. Uranium One is now producing. Urinerts and UR Energy will be in production in the next 3 to 6 months. There's a lot of activity in the state. And we're down in the Shirley River Basin here, just below the Powder River Basin where Cameco is, and down at Juniper Ridge, the south end of the state. Permitting in Wyoming is relatively easy. Permitting is not easy anywhere in the United States, but certainly in Wyoming for uranium, it's where people are going and they're getting their permits. Juniper Ridge property, we went back last year, looked at the historical data, and then we went out and drilled 80,000 feet of drilling in close to 400 holes. As a result of that, we were able to confirm the historical resources, and we've now got an indicated resource of a little over 5 million pounds. That'll allow us to go to a pre-feasibility study at the end of this year. We're going back to do another round of drilling, some 80,000 feet of drilling. There's a lot of area that's open for expansion there, as you can see in the pink. Historical drilling was not complete, and fractured land ownership allowed for a lack of consolidation in the different areas. Now here's another shot of the Juniper Ridge property showing the historic pit designs, and you can see that a lot of the drilling, even our drilling, is limited to the insides of those pits as confirmation drilling. So this year we've got a budget of just under $3 million to go back and do exploration work and development drilling outside of those known areas. Certainly there are a couple of hits there, and we have a strong confidence that we're going to be able to expand those resources into the more historical contingency plan that Uranga Shell Shaft had of some 9 to 10 million pounds at a lower cutoff at $20 uranium. And we believe that with the operating costs and potential capital costs that we can lower that cutoff and easily do see 10 million pounds in a shallow open pit heap leach scenario, which is low capital cost and low operating cost. So this is a little bit different than the Boot Hill property, which I'm going to talk about next. This is open pit, very shallow, 150 feet, and a heap leach, and then we ship the resin off to one of the existing mills. So we don't have to build a separate mill. Low cost. The other low-cost operation is Boot Hill, which is in situ recovery or in situ leaching, where you inject oxygenated water down a well, and you're able to dissolve the uranium, and then you pump it up a central well and treat it, load it onto resin, ship it to someone else's mill. Again, low cost, low capital, low operating costs, and look how green it is. I mean, that's a producing mine there. That's Cameco's mine there. And all you can see is a few wellheads and what looks like a garage, which is actually the central pump control building. And this is what UR Energy, Urinerts, this is really in Wyoming and Texas. That's what they're known for, this in situ recovery process. It's quite clean, it's quite efficient, and it does not contaminate the water. It's well below drinking water aquifers, and of course the aquifer that we're working in is already contaminated with radon and total dissolved solids. The Boot Hill property, as I said, it's a joint venture with UR Energy. They have just under 25% right now. Outline of our resource as it stands, the 5 million pounds. We're going back this year to extend it, looking for more resources to the south. We've got quite an extensive property position over 6 sections there. Budget this year is strictly an exploration budget. We're continuing permitting. The baseline studies are underway now. Just a typical long section, give you an idea of what the ore body looks like. It's several kilometers long. That equates to several miles in this case, and up to 45, 50 feet thick. So let's switch gears now, and let's move off to eastern Canada. This was the property that Crosshair had back in 2007, 2008, and drove the company to a market cap of $400 million on the U.S. exchanges and the VSX. Since that time, of course, we had the crash in 2008. We didn't go back to that property until last year. Last year we went back and started additional drilling to see what we were doing with the resources, how we could grow them. Right next, this is our property. This is our property in red. And Paladin Aurora Energy is in the brown color. Paladin bought that last year at $1.90 a pound, 130 million pounds in that. On our property ourselves, we've got just under 20 million pounds in two deposits, along with 140 million pounds of vanadium. Paladin is going back this year and anticipates spending several $1 million in additional drilling. Another shot of our property outline, the two-time zone and the C-zone, some of our targets for the upcoming summer. We're going to drill about 6,000 meters with a budget of a little over $2 million. This is the C-zone corridor, which is on the C-zone deposit, showing you the uranium mineralization in red and the vanadium mineralization in a purple color. You can see that there's room for expansion. The resources that we have in three areas, which amount to 11 million pounds, and the vanadium resource, have lots of room to grow there. The two-time zone, it's located about 7 kilometers northwest of the C-zone. Limited drilling has been done on that. We now own 100% of the property. We've got some 6 million pounds of uranium sitting there. You can see that it's open to the south at depth, as we demonstrated last year, and it's open to the north as well on some new zones we've found. The 6 million pounds of resource that's illustrated there does not include the drilling that we did last year, which did add additional resource pounds to the property. I've gone over this program fairly quickly. This is our program budgeted outline. As I said, we've got money in the bank, cash to finish this program. We're extremely bullish moving forward. We're bullish on uranium, bullish on vanadium, and we believe that the projects that we have illustrated on the screen here have a lot of room for expansion to include our resource base. As I said, we're permitting on Boot Hill. We're moving forward on Juniper Ridge. We're doing resource drilling. We're going to do a pre-feasibility study at the end of the year. Metallurgical testing is underway as we stand here. Boy, we're going to have a lot of news flow this summer. We'll start drilling up in Labrador July 1st. June 1st, we'll be delivering results from Juniper Ridge. Boot Hill will start drilling 1st of August. So we'll have a continual news flow coming out over the summer. And that's pretty much it.